Chitu, I'll just do my breakfast.
Okay. Yeah, I'll come sit here. Yes.
आचार्य जी शुरू करें?
हाँ हाँ प्लीज.
Namaste, I'm Ranjana Bedi. Housekeeping first. For best audio and video quality of the program, please mute yourself and stop the video. This is so that when we are projecting to you, you get the best audio and video quality. So if you would please turn your videos off, that would be great. It's the button at the bottom left of your screen. Next to mute, it says stop video. Please click on stop video. So Tara and Mushtaq and Jaggies and Asha, please stop your video.
Okay, that's okay. I'll continue.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and start. Namaste again. Dr. Neera Bhutani, a woman of great substance. We memorialize her today under the auspices of Arya Samaj of Greater Houston. The program today is split into 5 sections. 1, an introductory poem by Ranjana Bedi. 2, prayers by Acharya Suryanandaji of Arya Samaj of Greater Houston. 3, speeches and slideshows, which will be emceed by Pranika Sinha. 4, vote of thanks by Yvette Bhutani. 5, Shantipat or prayer for peace by Yvette Bhutani. So before we start, I'd like to ask you for a moment of silence. Thank you. Neera. She was like the wind, here today, gone tomorrow, a force of nature. When she was a gentle breeze, she healed the sick, And then she was a gust picking up the broken, or a gale blowing your doubts away, smiling, a friend helping friends. This wind was not with us long enough. She went out, said, "I'll be back." We looked away, and she was gone. We knew you for years, but it was only a speck in eternity. We are just strangers saying hello and goodbye at the departures terminal. Even the wind needs a goodbye, and goodbyes need dignity. Keep those tears in your heart for now. Tears and dignity do not go well together. For now, we celebrate a life lived well. Acharyaji, over to you for the prayer.
Namaste. All of us will recite 3 times of Om with a little pranayam. You can do it in your home. Make your body straight and relaxed. Breathe in deeply. With exhaling, we'll recite a long Om and repeat it for 3 times. Start. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. First, we'll do some recite some selected verses of Gita. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Ashocya Nanvashocastvam Pragyavadangscha Bhashase Gatasu Nagatasungscha Nano Shochanti Panditaha. Lord Krishna said, Arjun, you grieve over those who should not be grieved for. Yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise grieve never for the dead nor for the living. Natve vaham jatunasam natvam neme janadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. In fact, there was never a time when I didn't exist, nor you, nor any of these kings, nor will there be any time in future when all of us shall cease to be. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. Just as the self associated with a body passes through childhood, youth, and old age pertaining to that body, So too at death it passes into another body. A wise man just as the self associated with a body passes through childhood, youth, and old age, so too it passes into another body. A wise man is not deluded by that. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drishtvanta, stvanayosthatvadarshibhi. The unreal has no existence, and the real never ceases to be. The reality of both has thus been perceived by the seers of truth. Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmat yudhyasva bharata. These bodies of the embodied self, which is eternal, indestructible, and immeasurable, and said to have an end. Therefore, fight, O Arjuna. Najayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vanabhuyah ajo nitya shashvato yam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. The soul is never born, nor does it ever die. After having been, it again ceases not to be, because it is unborn, eternal, changeless, and ancient. It is not killed when the body is killed. Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani granhati naro parani तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णा नन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. Just as a man casts up worn out clothes and puts on new ones, so also the embodied soul casts up worn out bodies and enters others which are new. Nainam chindanti shastrani Nainam dahati pavakah na chainam kledayantyapo na shoshayati marutah. Weapons do not cleave it, fire doesn't burn it, waters do not wet it, and wind doesn't dry it. Achedyo yamadayoya makledyo shoshya evacha. Nitya sarvagatastano rachaloyam sanatana. It cannot be clipped, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be wetted, and it cannot be dried, because it is eternal, all pervading, stable, immovable, and changeless. Avyakto yamachintyoya mavikaryo yamuchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanu shochitumarhasi. The soul is unmanifest, it is unthinkable, and it is spoken of as unchangeable. Therefore, Arjuna, knowing this to be such, you should not grieve. Atha chainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam shochitum arhasi. And Arjuna, even if you think of it as constantly being born, constantly dying, even then you should not grieve like this, because jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyerthe natvam shochitum arhasi. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyakta nidhananiva tatra ka paridevana. Because in that case, death is certain for the born and rebirth is inevitable for the dead. Therefore, you should not feel grief for what is inevitable. Arjuna, before birth, beings are not manifest to our sense. At death, they return to the unmanifest again. They are manifest only in the interim between birth and death. What occasion then for lamentation? देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. Arjun, the soul in this body is eternal and indestructible. This is so in the case of the souls indwelling in the bodies of all. Therefore, you should not mourn for anyone. I thank you, and the Bhutani family also thank you all for being here today to pay tribute and celebrate the life and accomplishment of Neera Bhutani ji. We want to express our sympathy with the bereaved family and pray to the Almighty God to grant sublime destination. To the deceased and give strength to the bereaved family to bear this immense loss of their loved one. At such times, people want to know what is birth, what is death, what becomes of the Atma, the life force after death. So therefore, here is some light on this intricate subject. It will help you to console yourself and others. So remember, the life we have, it itself is a combination of two different things. The first entity is soul, which is conscious. The other is body, which is made of matter. So the body is material. Because it is material, so it is perishable. The soul is a conscious entity, quite different from the physical body in which it lives from time to time. It is immortal, eternal, pure, and consciousness. It has no physical form, but possesses a subtle body. We call it astral body or sukshma sharir. All lives, it can be a human or non-human form. It may be animal, plant, or an insect, have a soul. This soul is not affected by any changes going on in this body. It takes one form after another on account of its own actions. A person's existence doesn't begin with birth and terminate with death of physical body. There is an indweller called Jivatma, or individual soul, who manifests in a given body in order to experience the results of its own past actions. When a physical body is unable to sustain life, this Jivatma gives up its current form to assume another one. As soon as the soul leaves the body, it adopts another intangible, subtle body. This is known as samsara, transmigration of souls. The entrance of a soul into a body is called birth. The soul's departure from the body is called death. A body is dead, not the overall existence, and the body is dead if the soul is absent in it. A dead body remains like a log of wood after the soul has departed from this body. It is the soul that enlivens, galvanizes, and directs the whole personality, including body, mind, intellect, and senses. So soul is the inner ruler, or you can say director of everything in us, mind, body, intellect. So mind borrows its light. Everything mind does, it borrows from the soul. He who is born begins to die, and he who dies begins to live. And birth and death are merely doers of entry and exist on the stage of this world. Like Shakespeare said, It's a acting stage. Everyone comes here to perform his or her duties, acts, and at the end of the day, and they go back. Just as you move from one house to another house, the soul passes from one body to another to gain experiences. Like in Gita, you have heard from second chapter, just as a man casting of worn out garments, cloths, takes new ones, so the dweller in this body, the owner of or the master of this body, casting of worn out bodies, enters into others which are new. And remember, life flows until it gets its sublime destination. So death is not the end of life, remember. It is merely cessation of an important individuality who was dear and near to us for a temporary, limited period of time with various names and relationships, parents, children, friends, siblings, many names, but for a limited period of time. So there is death for the physical body only, which itself is a compound of 5 basic elements. We called it Prithvi, Apa, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Earth is not the earth planet. The solid, the whole universe is made of matters, and this matter has 5 different forms: the solid, liquidity, gas, energy, and vacuum. And body also made of those basic 5 elements. After death, these elements are dissolved. They reach their primordial sources from the inexhaustible storehouse of nature. And the individual soul, along with his pranas, the vital airs, the mind, and the senses, leave its former body and obtains a new body. All the elements accompany the soul, the pranas, mind, senses, everything, remain at the time of death quite inoperative for accompanying this departing soul. And also, not only that, it carries with itself all the impressions or imprints. We call it samskara, subconscious memories that we have done in our life or experienced. All those experiences gradually become our impressions or subconscious memories, sanskaras, left by its prior action, which are the seeds of the new life. These impressions or imprints or sanskaras play an active part in molding the character of the jiva next life. Its fresh actions in the next birth are motivated by those imprints or impressions or sanskaras of actions of past life. And we see in our day-to-day life, the senses attain skill in performing certain works even without much practice in this life. And there are others who cannot do the same work even after much practice. And even we can see in our own siblings. So all this is due to the revival or non-revival of the sanskaras or past impressions. The soul comes back again and again in different life forms according to its past karmas and the deeds. So our scriptures advises us as do not identify with this body. You are not this perishable body. You are the immortal soul. Shuddhosi, buddhosi, niranjanosi. You are immortal, divine, pure. Identify yourself with this soul, Tattvamasi. You are that which is beyond your cognition, beyond your sensual knowledge. Identify yourself with that. You are that. Feel this, realize this, and be free. To achieve this freedom, the absolute freedom, liberation from what? Liberation from that cycle of death and birth, death and birth. You need to purify your mind. You need to study your mind. You need to fix your mind on yourself. For that, you need to first purify yourself, your mind, meditate, and realize your essential divine nature. You will be freed from the wheel of birth and death, and you will attain that eternal bliss, Paramananda, and immortality, Amrita. So, at the end, we finally bow to the will of God Almighty, since He alone knows the best of well-being of all of us. We can just ask why it is happening to me in my family. No one knows. It's only God knows. We humbly pray to that Satchidananda Paramatma to provide his shelter and his protection to the departed noble soul of Neera Bhutani ji. On behalf of the entire community, extended family members, and Arya Samaj Greater Houston, we offer our heartfelt condolences, and together we offer our prayer. May the Lord grant strength and courage to the surviving members of Bhutani family, to all relations and friends. May the Lord grant ability to give comfort to the bereaved family, and may Lord confer on the soul of Neera Bhutani a happy transition to its sublime destination. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you very much. Now I am requesting Pranika Uppal Sinha ji to take care of the next program. Thank you.
Thank you, Acharya ji. Hello, everyone. My name is Pranika Uppal Sinha, and our family has been friends of the Bhutanis for over 40 years. Neera auntie was an amazing woman, well-loved and an exemplary pediatrician, a beloved family member and friend, and a generous, caring, hardworking community member. I have known her since our family moved to Houston in 1979, which means I grew up knowing her for most of my life. She did so much for others and was especially caring for people in their most difficult times, lending her resilience, cooking, presence, comforting voice, as well as a reassuring smile and her love. Auntie had boundless energy. She was so positive, funny, and she just loved to shop, tell jokes, entertain, and visit with people. That energy and optimism not only made her a wonderful doctor, but a much-loved friend and family member. You will now hear via video some fond memories, loving remembrances, and caring tributes from Neera auntie's dear family and friends. The first video is from her grandson, Soren Bhutani.
Soren, what's the best memory that you had with Grandma?
It's when we hung out at her 70th birthday brunch area and we got to eat together and spend time together.
What quality of Grandma would you want others to know about?
Is that she's kind and she cares a lot about people.
What do you wish you could have done with Grandma? Something new or something again?
Visit her house more often, every weekend more.
Is there anything else you want to say about Grandma or share?
I love you, Grandma.
Our next video is from her granddaughter, Sumera Bhutani.
Hi, I'm Samira Bhutani.
What's the best memory that you had with Grandma?
One of my best memories with her was when we went to Alaska and I got to stay with her in her room, but I got to spend even more time that I would usually hang out with her at her house, so Yeah.
What quality of grandma would you want others to know about?
I would like others to know that Grandma is very kind and she's a very nice person.
What do you wish you could have done with grandma?
I wish I could have gone to India with her when I had some time with her and it wasn't the pandemic because I promised I would go with her. And I also, we sent her a video like a month ago and I wish she would have seen that.
Is there anything else you would like to say about grandma?
I miss her very much and I wish she was here right now.
Our next video is from Neera's son, Sumit.
Rather than focus on the awfulness that has transpired in the past several weeks, I want to take this opportunity to share with you how I choose to remember my mother. As you already know, she was a deeply caring and empathetic individual. She had a love for human interaction and helping others in any way she could. She continued to work not because she needed to, but because her boundless energy and need for social interaction left her no choice. Seeing the outpouring of words and messages from patients and others in the Clear Lake community has been truly inspirational for me. When you live and work as a primary care provider in a community for 40 years, you're naturally going to touch many lives. I just never appreciated how many or just how impactful those connections could be. Even in her passing, I'm learning lessons that I need to use as inspiration in caring for my patients. She was a great mom. While I never told her that enough, I hope she knows that the reason I called her two to three times a week was not out of a sense of obligation, but because even as an adult, she was often my sounding board. She gave me everything I ever wanted or needed, and many would argue gave me too much. She shielded me from pain and suffering as only a mother can. She gave me every opportunity to succeed in whatever endeavor I chose. She called in favors from me to get a summer job or a medical preceptorship. She had no hesitation in doing so because she would gladly reciprocate the favors if ever asked. While I'm saddened that our time with her grandchildren has been cut short, I know that she made long-lasting memories that will be with my children for the rest of their years. She relished her role as a grandparent and cared deeply about her grandkids' happiness and well-being. She obviously had a tremendous influence on my decision to pursue medicine as a career. In fact, I frequently think back to her visit to my college town to convince me to go to medical school. While we would often argue about the minutiae of patient care, I definitely know that she respected my opinion as I did hers. While I'll never have her magnetism or her perpetually optimistic outlook on life, I find myself in awe of those qualities of late. While I wish at times she was a little less headstrong, a little more interested in all things food and beverage, and a little less concerned with solving everyone's problems, these are small things in the fabric of a woman who I have yet a lot to learn from. In conclusion, I want to acknowledge a few people before I forget that have been especially helpful to my father and the family during this ordeal. Both of my cousins, Sandhya and Samir, they've been consistently providing status updates to concerned friends and families overseas and been regularly checking in on my father. I'd also like to thank the Dayals and Ballas who provided meals and emotional support to both my father and myself during this stressful time. And last, my rock, my wife, Yvette, for holding us all together during this whole traumatic event. Thank you all for listening and thanks for attending.
Our next video is from Neera's daughter-in-law, Yvette.
Neera Bhutani was a remarkable woman. I met her over 25 years ago when Sumit and I met at Washington University. She welcomed me with open arms into the family and over the years treated me just as a mom would. My own mother passed away in 2002, so her presence and her role in my life was very special. She provided unconditional love to her family, especially to my children, her grandchildren, Samara and Soren. She was present when each of them were born and relished in all the little tasks, such as changing diapers and giving baths. She patiently and lovingly tackled Samara's curly toddler hair, and Soren's eczema flare-ups. I created and gifted photo books each year for Christmas, which I knew she treasured. I did them as much for her as for myself. As the kids have grown older, we played headbands and charades together, which I could tell she enjoyed as much as the kids did. We have beautiful memories from summer vacations that we had recently started to take together. And she was very supportive of me and my family when we went through my father's cancer and passing 3 years ago. I remember my dad told me that I was very lucky to have a mother-in-law like her. He really genuinely liked her. As I have been helping to organize this memorial and gather photos for her slideshow that you are about to see, I am reminded of what a special soul she is and of how many people's lives she has impacted. I will miss you, Mom.
Our next video is from Neera's husband, Sudhir.
January 20 has been one of the luckiest days of my life. On this day in 1972, I married Neera. This coming 20th, I will have been married to Neera for 49 years. We were both looking forward to our 50th anniversary. Alas, fate and COVID-19 has intervened, and we will not be celebrating any more anniversaries. I am going to miss her. During all this time, I did not realize how dependent I was on her. She provided encouragement during good times and consolation during bad times and delicious food at all times. I never realized or gave her enough credit for all the things she did, because she did them without boasting or rubbing it in. I retired at the age of 54, 22 years ago. She remained the main breadwinner during all this time and never once reminded me of that. Monetarily, she did very well. Most people are surprised why a beautiful doctor would marry an average-looking engineer. Maybe it was because I had an IIT Bombay degree, a US green card, and a steady, stable job in the US. I had many health problems at a young age with heart attacks and open heart surgeries. Even in those difficult times, she did not give up on me or lose hope. I have been blessed. Why? I don't know. I don't have many hobbies or interests. To put it mildly, I am lazy. If I can avoid doing work, I avoid it. But Neera has always been a bundle of energy. Any free time was filled with shopping errands, catching up with friends on the telephone. My long telephone conversation is about 5 minutes. Our average telephone conversation is over 30 minutes. Driving back and forth to work is valuable time that could not be wasted, and she filled it talking to people. Her most favorite person to talk was a sister in India. When her brother-in-law died with COVID, she telephoned her 2 to 3 times a day. That was her nature. If she could provide comfort, she did. Our son was 6 months old when we moved to Houston, and Neera started a job as a pediatrician. A pediatric practice in 1977 was very different than it is today. They had to go for every delivery, most of which happened at night. This schedule prevented her from spending as much time with Sumit as she would have liked, so she was caught in a guilt trap. She tried to make up for that by showering him with gifts. At one time, Sumit's clothes came from Bloomingdale's and Neiman Marcus. In recent years, she transferred this love and affection to her 2 grandchildren. She found occasions to give them gifts and got them over to her house to spend quality time with her and participated in all the children games they wanted to play. Finally, I pined for her. I don't know how long this loneliness and emptiness is going to last. Hopefully, over time, my crying will stop and the lump in my throat will reduce. The thoughts of a painful end will be replaced by happy memories of bygone times. And this is for Neera, wherever she is. I love you. I have always loved you, even during the difficult times, and I will continue to do so until we meet again. Till then, goodbye, my love.
Next, we have a wonderful slideshow that Yvette has put together that is a compilation of pictures of family, friends, and special moments throughout Neera's life.
वक्त ने किया क्या हंसी सितम तुम रहे न तुम हम रहे न हम वक्त ने किया क्या हंसी सितम तुम रहे न तुम हम रहे न हम वक्त ने किया
के दिए तेरे लिए, तेरे लिए हम भेजे हर आंसू पिए, तेरे लिए हम भेजे होठों को सिए, दिल में मगर जलते रहे चाहत के दिए तेरे जिंदगी लेके आई है बीते दिनों की किताब, जिंदगी लेके आई है बीते दिनों की किताब, घेर हैं अब हमें यादें बेहिसाब, बिन पूछे मिले मुझे कितने सारे जवाब, चाहा था क्या पाया है क्या हमने देखिए, दिल में मगर जलते रहे चाहत के दिए तेरे लिए, तेरे क्या कहूँ दुनिया ने
Our next video tribute comes from Neera's friend, Dolly Bajpai.
Good morning. My name is Dolly Bajpai, and I'm here to reminisce and reflect on Neera's life as I knew her. Neera could be my sister from another mother. I have the sole bragging rights to say that I knew her longer than any of her friends. Neera and I met in Delhi University right out of high school when we joined there to do our pre-medical studies. We became very good friends from get-go, and our friendship developed a deeper bond as the time went by. We were pretty serious about our studies, but besides that, we used to do all the things that young people do, like going out, missing classes, and going for movies because she loved movies. After our pre-med, we both moved to Ludhiana, but to different medical schools. And being social as she was, she used to visit me often and bring her personal friends. That's where I got to know them, and I introduced her to my now husband Deepchand, and they developed a very fond affection for each other, which has continued over all these years. I was present at Neera's and Sudhir's wedding in Delhi, and once finally when we were all in the US, we used to meet, especially when our kids were young, at each other's houses, or else later on we traveled quite a bit of the globe as couples. That's where we created many fond memories that I will be able to cherish. Neera was a very kind, caring, giving, passionate person. She was often loud, but she had a very dynamic personality. You could ask Neera for anything and she would have a solution. Both of us felt very comfortable with each other on picking up our phones if we had any personal issues or challenges that needed to be resolved. We also used to exchange text messages often. The last message I received from Neera was just about 2 days prior to her illness, I think. It was a poetry that she sent me about friendship, written by a very famous Muslim poet named Mirza Ghalib. At that time, I didn't think much of it, but since her passing, it has taken on a very deep meaning for me, and I'll read it to you. It goes as, खुदा की मोहब्बत को फना कौन करेगा, सभी बंदे नेक हों तो गुनाह कौन करेगा. हे खुदा, मेरे दोस्तों को सलामत रखना, वरना मेरी सलामती की दुआ कौन करेगा. और रखना मेरे दुश्मनों को भी महफूज, वरना मेरी तेरे पास आने की दुआ कौन करेगा. Neera, you've gone, but you've left a deep void. And all I can say is that I will have to bring up all the memories we created and cherish them and think of you, and I'll miss you.
Our next video is from Sandhya, Neera's niece.
Namaskar, this is Sandhya, Neera Masi's niece. Words don't seem to be enough to express the grief that I have felt in the last few days. I've lost a mother figure, a wise friend, a doctor, and she was a Santa to me and my family. Santa Claus certainly comes once in a year for everyone, but for me, she was just a call away. She's always loved me like her daughter. And for me, this world is never going to be the same. She's inspired me in so many ways while growing up. As a young girl, I always looked up to her and wanted to be like her. She was a true Karamveer who did not care for her life and took care of her patients till she was hit by COVID. She was a kind of a thread who knitted all the cousins and siblings together. Her visit to India once in a year was not only looked forward by her real brothers and sisters and nephews and nieces, but even by the cousins, because she made sure she goes and meets each one of them and bonds with them. She's given us so many memories that they will go on till the last breath we have in us. Today, we all are stuck by grief. And the grief is that what are we going to do without her? But all I have to say is we need to console ourselves with the thought that now she's one with the God. And she, like before, is going to be our guiding star. She will watch us at every step and protect us just the way earlier. My request to everyone is, let's pick up the incomplete pieces that she has left behind and try to move on. Move on with the legacy and the example she was to us. And certainly moving forward does not mean that we will forget her. But we have to move forward, as I know my dear Masi would have wanted us all to do that. Let's imbibe the first quality that comes to our minds about her and her sweet smiling face in our hearts and move on. My sincere apologies to Uncle, Sumit, Yvette, Samara, and Soren for not being there with them during this difficult time. I am with all of you in spirit, and you all are in my prayers and thoughts. Rest in peace, Masi, and I am sure she would be loved and respected in heaven too. Bye, Masi, till we meet again. Regards, everybody. Namaskar.
The next tribute is from Surinder Kaur, Neera's friend from India and college of about 50 years.
My long journey with Neera and my relationship with her of 55 years from the college days has remarkable memories. We traveled on many trips together in all these years. We attended many weddings in the families. We traveled many places on the hills and outstations. We went to many clubs and hotels together. I was like her tail. Neera, I was really like your tail and have very vivid memories of all these travels and times with you. Oh, my dearest Neera, you're always in a hurry to do anything and everything. It may be your clinic, your errands, or your shopping. You valued the time greatly. You valued your patients and kids tirelessly and bravely. You respected your friends or any other relations graciously. You loved your Sudhir, Yvette, Sumit, Samara, and Soren in your own ways, sincerely and honestly. You did anything and everything wholeheartedly. Oh, my dearest Neera, God's ways are His ways, and God has different plans for you. He saw you are overworked and over-dedicated. As the world loved you, probably God also loved you so much. And quote, Dear Neera, oh darling baby, it's your time to come back to me. Unquote. Your stormy exit from this world has given a shock to your dear ones, especially me. Though you had been soothing thousands of all, but your sudden parting from this world has given endless grief and tears to all, especially me. Oh, my loving sister, you are my soulmate, my real friend, my support, and my backbone. You are always in my heart. You'll be always in my heart and my prayers. Your memories are stamped on my heart and soul forever. Love you, my dearest Neera. Love you, my dearest Neera. Please come back. Come back. Come back. My long journey with Neera and my relationship with her of 55 years from the college days has remarkable memories.
Our next video is from Neera's dear friend and neighbor in Friendswood, Usha Dayal.
Dear friends, I don't know how to express this. I have lost my dear friend and the best person. Although she was younger to me, but I always considered her to be my mentor, confidant, and big sister. She would often advise in these simple words, Usha, you need to change and you need to be stronger. For this advice, because she herself was a fearless, strong, selfless, and always be there to help anyone who needed it. I will always miss her very much, but her memories and her soul always will be with me. So let's pray that we can acquire her qualities and be like her. Thank you and namaste.
Our next video is from Dr. Roberta Lee, Neera's longtime friend and colleague from Clear Lake Pediatrics.
Hello, my name is Roberta Lee. I have known Neera Bhutani for over 41 years. I came to work at Clear Lake Pediatric Clinic in 1979, and I have enjoyed working with her. But on January 2nd, 2021, I lost my fellow pediatrician. When she came ill, stayed home, and then entered the hospital, I would call her every day to see how she was doing and wish that she would get well quick because I missed her. But when I called and she would not answer, I knew it was because she couldn't. I miss my daily lunchtime with her, spending 30 minutes or more talking about patients, doctors, family, plans of what she was planning to do on the weekend. She would often pull out her iPhone to tell us a joke that she received on the internet. Sometimes we would talk about politics, and that would create a pretty colorful discussion. At Clear Lake Pediatric Clinic, we were really a Clear Lake pediatric family. We would not only work together or consult among each other, but oftentimes we would enjoy spending our free time together. We have many different birthday parties that were given. A surprise birthday party for Ron Abbott at her house, Sadir's birthday party at Brennan's, even my birthday party at my house, and of course her 70th birthday party given by Sumit and Yvette at Brennan's. She was very gracious and helpful to everybody. She spent a lot of time with her organizations, Friend Helping Friends, with their fundraising, and oftentimes she would ask us to help as well. She told me she was ready to retire, but the COVID pandemic halted her plans because she would not be able to socialize with her family and friends like she wanted. She thought about moving closer to Houston so she could be closer to Sumit and his family. She told me, though, that as Sumit was growing up as a child, she was not able to attend a lot of his school events, sports, like swim meets, but Sadir did. That was her dedication to her calling, taking care of her pediatric patients. But this was going to be different when she retired. She was going to spend more time with her grandkids, Samira and Soren. She wanted to attend their school events, sports, recitals, and especially looking forward to Grandparents' Day with Samira and Soren. She loved to travel, telling us about her adventures to China, Turkey, Mexico, Canada, Hawaii, Australia that she took with Zadir and her friends. She even told me that when we both retired that she was going to show me India, all the places she had visited and was proud to have visited. It was such a privilege to have known and worked with Neera, to call her my business partner, my friend, and my buddy. She will be surely and sorely missed. Thank you.
Our next video is from Neera's dear friend, Benna Patel.
Hello everybody. 1 minute is very short time for me to summon my relationship in my life with Neera. How can I say goodbye to a friend or mentor who was an integral part of my life for 40 years? Words are not enough to pay tribute to Neera. For me, she was a dynamic lady, a dynamic personality, and a dynamic friend. When I think of Neera, I can only say that she lived her life to the fullest, doing what she enjoyed the most. Her work, going out for movies, shopping, her passion, going out to different restaurants, enjoying different cuisines. And above that, she was talented beyond measure. She loved art and created some beautiful pictures. And she loved music and singing. In the background, I'm playing a song that I used to tease her quite often with before I left for Houston. तेरे जैसा यार कहाँ ऐसा याराना Neera. I used to tell her I'm a phone call away when I left Houston. It isn't possible to put into words the importance of my friendship with Neera and how much she meant to me. She positively influenced my life in so many ways, big and small. We'll always miss her forever. We'll never forget all the good, sad times that we spent together. I hopelessly feel helpless today, Sudhir, that I'm not by your side, Sumit, and your side in your grief. She always used to call me when she traveled alone to come stay with you. I hope all of you in the coming days find resilient in her memories and keep her alive within us, in our hearts. Thank you.
Our next video is from Dimple Aluwalia.
My fond memories of my Neera auntie is of a unique person who will go out of her way to help somebody no matter what. She will always be remembered as a warm and a compassionate person. At the same time, she demonstrated her beliefs and her opinions to you. And also her can-do attitude allowed her to overcome any obstacles that came her way. She was my go-to person, my friend, my advisor, my confidant. I would like to say she was just like my second mom. Her greatest quality was to encourage me to make the best of everything and to face problems head on. She has always been part of my celebration and happiness and there to cheer me up when I was sad. One example of Neera auntie, how she cared for me, was when she went to battle for me to get the experimental treatment approved in Chicago. She will not take no for an answer. She did everything in her power to get this treatment approved for me. This treatment not only got rid of my lupus, but saved my life. Another example of her kindness was when I was in the hospital for 3 months. She came there every single day and brought me lunch. Who does that? Only my Neera auntie. There are so many memories that I could write a book. Thank you for allowing me to share my precious memories of my Neera auntie. I will truly miss her, but her memories will live forever. I love you, Neera auntie. No word can express how I will miss you. I love you.
The next video is from Neera's friend and colleague at Clear Lake Pediatrics, Michelle Cook.
Hello to you all. For those of you that may not know me, let me introduce myself. I am Michelle. I have worked with Dr. Bhutani for 40 years, 27 of those as her business manager and confidant. Dr. Bhutani demanded the best out of people and never settled for less. I think that probably Yvette and Sumit and Sudhir can all attest to that. She would tell me often that she had the best daughter-in-law in the world, and I would always agree with that. It was important that she had a good relationship with Yvette because she adored her son Sumit, and after all, they gave her the absolute most wonderful gift in the world, which was Samara and Soren, her grandchildren, and nothing meant more to her. Sudhir, she loved you and respected you. We would laugh often because when we were making a seemingly important decision, I would always say to her, have you talked to Sudhir? And she would say, you think he's smarter than I am, don't you? And I would say, well, of course I do. And she would laugh and say, well, then you can call him. And I said, well, okay, I'll do that. And most of the time I did. And for that, I thank you, Sudhir. I appreciate it. The office will never, ever be the same. And hopefully you will still help us out and take my calls from time to time when I need to reach out. Dr. Bhutani also introduced me to a fabulous culture, the first generation. And now in the interim, I know 3 generations. I feel honored. I feel blessed to have known and been brought into her world. She allowed me in, and that was a huge gift to me. I just pray that we all can heal from this huge loss. And please, everyone, stay safe and hold your friends and family very close to you. There's no better treasure. Thank you.
Our next video is from Neera's friends, Vijay and Leta Patel.
एक दिन आप यूं हमको मिल जाएंगे, फूल ही फूल राहों में खिल जाएंगे, मैंने सोचा न था।
एक दिन जिंदगी इतनी होगी हंसी, झूमेगा आसमां, गाएगी ज़मीं, मैंने सोचा न था। दिल की डाली पे कलियां सी खिलने लगी, जब निगाहें निगाहों से मिलने लगी।
एक दिन इस तरह होश खो जाएंगे, पास आए तो मदहोश हो जाएंगे, मैंने सोचा न था।
जल उठेंगे मोहब्बत के इतने दिए,
जाना था।
Our next video is from Thara Singh, Neera's dear friend of many years.
I've known Neera over 40 years. I met her first time at a friend's house, Jackie's, for dinner. And we hit it off right away, maybe because we had same interests. We shared the same birthday. We both loved shopping and traveling. And we used to, those days I wasn't working, so we used to take off on Wednesdays, have lunch and go shopping. And my best memory of shopping with her was when she was buying a fur coat for herself. We modeled all kinds of coats, and finally we decided on the one which looked best on her. We had so much fun that day. We were acting like teenagers. She was so much fun. She was so uplifting, always smiling. She had this sparkle in her eyes that, you couldn't miss it. But she also had this other side. She was very kind and caring. She was always there, no matter who it was, who needed her, whether she knew the person or didn't know the person. In 1983, when I lost my husband, she was there every day. She was calling me every evening after work and said, "Put on some water for chai. I'm going to have some chai with you." She just wanted to make sure I wasn't alone in the evenings. It wasn't just me. She would help anybody, everybody. She achieved so much in her life, professionally, personally. She touched so many lives, and we all are going to miss her so much. It's not just me or her close friends or her family, but the whole community is going to miss her a lot. She's left such a huge void in our life. We love you, Neera. We're going to miss you dearly.
Our next video is from Jayashri and Hemant Sampath.
Namaste friends, I'm Jayashri.
And I'm Hemant.
We are at loss as to how to come to terms with the fact that our dear friend Neera has gone forever. While facing reality is hard, we must accept the fate and celebrate her life and legacy. I'm sure each and every one of us present here has wonderful memories of time spent with her. Reaching out to everyone was her trademark. We met Neera and Sudhir in New Haven, Connecticut in 1972 during our residency. This was 49 years ago. To this date, not only we have remained close friends, we have become a family and have shared good and bad times together. In New Haven, Bhutani's Patis and us were close and met many times since then. At weddings, have taken vacations together, have talked on the phone, and have wonderful times. As a matter of fact, our last reunion was in August 2019 when we came to Houston to celebrate Evan's sister Panna's birthday. After the wonderful party, we went to Bhutani's homes and spent a couple of days together. Yvette, Sumit, and kids also joined us for an evening. At the time, we reminisced, and we watched the DVD of old photos that parties had made. And Samara and Soren were amazed to see their young grandma. And they even asked, he said, "Is that you, Grandma?" We laughed, we joked, we sang, and of course had wonderful, delicious food at their home. Neera's gobi parathas were our absolute favorite, and she never failed to make those when we visited her. Her parathas and Sudhir's artistically cut salads and fruits and sweet lassi were unmatched. How we will miss all that, Neera.
Neera had an incredibly genuine and welcoming smile that filled your heart and made you feel at home. Back in the day, again in Connecticut, when all three couples got together, us three men would get to a corner, have scotch and some more scotch, and start to tell jokes and laugh and discuss events of the day, especially politics. And we were all impassioned, but not as much as Sudhir was. We all would get louder, but can't match Sudhir's loudness. And then Neera would get up, come in to break it up and said, "Bas karo Sudhir, bas ho gaya, bahut ho gaya, huh?" And Sudhir would comply, and so would we.
Just 1 month away from vaccine and so close to retirement, we all are saddened by her fate. But you know something? Someone up there needed her more to help with the other angels. And we all can bet she's doing just that. Neera, we love you, we'll miss you, but we'll never forget the footprint that you have left on our heart and in our lives.
Our next video is from Neera's nephew, Samir.
Namaskar. I'm Samir from India, along with my mother, Romila, and I'm here to share few thoughts and memories of Neera Masi. We used to call her Kukku Masi, her nickname. There are 3 phases that I have seen her in my life in my last 45 years. Phase 1, when I was a kid, she was our Santa. I remember very fondly waiting for her flight to land, which will come like around midnight or after midnight in land in Delhi, and we would very impatiently wait for our goodies, t-shirts, chocolates, whatnot. Her bag was like just like what a Santa would carry for everyone. She would go and meet every individual, everyone, hundreds of relatives in India. Phase 2 was when I was there in US studying in Texas. I think I was so comfortable. First time I took an international flight was when I passed my engineering and came to Houston, and I can't thank and can't believe how she took care of me along with Sudhir uncle. Third, when my sister was undergoing through a surgery and my father was in the hospital, she was there. She was there with us. Every day she would call my mom 3 times. She would call me in the time of need, in the time of crisis. She was just there, the face, the thoughts, her intellect, everything was there for us. While my loss cannot be more than Sudhir uncle's and Sumit's and his family, but truly Kukku Masi was really Masi, like mom. She's truly, today I have lost a mother And I pray for her soul, and I really miss at this point, and I'm guilty of not being with Sumit and Uncle. And I really pray for her soul and peace for everyone.
Our final video is from Neera's brother, Samir.
Namaskar. I am Neera's elder brother Sudhir Kumar, and with me is my wife Shashi. Neera and I were not so close in age. She was 6 years younger. She was born within few months of division of British India. Family was yet to settle after getting displaced from Lahore to Delhi. She brought luck to family as my father got job within a week of her birth. During her junior and middle school, she was not much interested in studying. It was only during high school she was very serious and scored good marks and got admission in MBBS. Memories of her childhood are the dream that will stay with us forever. We grew up and grew apart as most of the siblings do. She got married to Sudhir and settled in US. After that, you all know how she developed as a brave, gracious, skillful, and trustworthy doctor. It was so sad that my gracious little sister life ended so fast, and it is hard to accept that she will be no longer with us anymore. May God give you strength to bear this loss, and the departed soul rest in peace. Namaskar.
That concludes the beautiful video tributes and remembrances from Neera's family and friends. Next, I would like to turn it over to Yvette, Neera's daughter-in-law, but before I do, I wanted to share a few words. During times of grief, we need so much love and support, someone to be steady, strong, and be our rock. Someone to organize, answer calls, share information, and help plan, while also helping to lovingly comfort the family. And for the Bhutanis, that has been Yvette, and they are so thankful for her, and we are also so grateful. I'll now turn it over to her. And we now invite you all to turn on your video as well. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We would like to express some thank yous for everyone who has been so supportive and shown their love to us and helped to put this very special tribute to Neera, to our mother, wife, and grandmother for us. A special thank you to Acharyaji for his prayers and blessings, helping to organize this and helping us to send her off last weekend at the funeral. Thank you to Ranjana Auntie for all the support she's given us. She has been instrumental to putting this memorial together. Unfortunately, she's had this experience before, but we are grateful that she can lend us her assistance with this, help to do the practice run last night, to organize all the video clips with us and get them sent over to Acharyaji clips, and also for the beautiful poem. Thank you to Sia and Keshav for their online tech support. Thank you to Bhushan and Raj uncles for their behind the scenes help in organizing the funeral and planning this event, and just helping Dad in general with everything he's going through. Of course, to Pranika at the last minute for agreeing to MC this event. Thank you for that, Pranika.
And to everyone who sent video eulogies and all the beautiful photos, hopefully you all enjoyed the slideshow. It was wonderful to see it come together. So thank you for that. And then of course, to the support and love from all of our family and friends, near and far, and participating in this video with us. We've got people from, of course, Houston area, from overseas. It's nighttime over there for us, for them. West Coast, much earlier in the morning, and the East Coast, and everywhere in between.
Thank you all for participating. My mom would be honored. Obviously, this has been a difficult time for all of us, but you all have given us a lot to support us through this difficult time. And this is truly a special celebration, and will be taken to heart by all of us going forward, and certainly lift our sails as we try to move on to the next phase of life. Thank you all for participating, and appreciate everyone's contribution.
And now Acharyaji with Shanti.
Yeah, thank you very much again. So we'll do the Shanti part. With that, we'll conclude the program. Give me just 1 minute. Om Dev Shantirantarikshyam Shantihi Prithvi Shantirapa Shantiroshadhayah Shantihi Vanaspatayah Shantirvishwe Devaha Shantir Brahma Shantihi Sarvam Shantihi Shantireva Shantihi Sama Shantiredhi Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. With this memorial service, Shraddhanajali to Mrs. Neera is going to be concluded. Thank you very much to be part of this ceremony. Thank you again.
In case some of you can't see the slide or the links, if you wish to donate, you can go to aryasamajhouston.com or houstonfoodbank.com. Those were Neera's supported charities. Thank you.
It is now unmute. You can unmute now and say hi or namaste, whatever you can do it. So it's it.